Today I will be making a minestrone risotto using mostly vegetables from our vegetable patch. Here is a beautiful round courgette which is ready to be harvested, so I'll pick that one there. And also we have got some normal long courgettes. This year we have got two varieties. Last year we only did the round ones. So I've got a couple little ones here which are perfect for my minestrone, as they will be beautiful and tender. And this one here has still got the flower attached. Actually it's come off, so I'll pick it up and I'll pick this one also. Julie's given me permission to pick this additional flower, so I'm not going to decline it. These are little monge pea pods, and we planted them earlier this year. Look how beautiful they are, beautiful purple color. So I will be complementing my minestrone risotto using some of these.
These are a little bit sweeter.
Okay, so I'll pick some of the green ones also. They are slightly sweeter according to Julie, so we don't mind that. Minestrones are famously renowned for the varieties of vegetables you put in, so the more you put in, the more you get out. Here I'm picking the larger ones, which also will help the plant in providing more nutrients for the smaller ones. But I will only pick a handful of each, so that I've got a great variety, and I don't want one single vegetable to take over the entire flavour. Peas next, and again these are ready, some of them are ready, not all, so I'm actually making sure that the ones I pick are the ones which are full of peas. I'll just open one and I'll show them to you. Look how lovely and beautiful they look. There. And of course you can eat this as they are. So yet again I'll pick a good handful, and then I'll move on to the next vegetable, which is going to be chard and also some spinach. By the way, this pergola over here is something which I built in the winter. There is a video with the whole project from beginning to end. We've got a second channel. We have lots of things going on, varieties of videos, including our vegetable patch. And there is a little mini series called Julie's Vegetable Patch, as it is Julie's patch. And in one of these episodes I show you how I built this pergola, but more importantly, in that particular mini-series you will see the garden back, I think it was in February, when we started from ground zero, pre-pergola, when it was totally flattened. And we have produced a series of episodes to show you step by step as to what we have planted from seeding in the greenhouse. So you might like that, and you might see what the progression has been over the months to get where we are today. And of course this is the best time because it's when we are harvesting things. So the last couple of vegetables I'm going to be picking is the chard and the spinach, which is what sparked this series. But also I wanted to add, if you've got some requests on things that you would like me to cook for the fresh vegetables, just please send me a comment. I'll be delighted to cook anything you like, of course, as long as I've got it in the garden. So let's go and get the spinach and the chard. They're over here. You will have seen me picking them already, but as I mentioned before, you pick some and within a week you've got more growth. So again, I will not be picking a lot, just enough to give that earthy and round flavor to my minestrone. Also, if you look, some of the spinach stems are going to seeds already, so I'm nipping them in the bud, so to say, so that I can use them and they do not go to waste. I'm done for the time being. I will go indoors. Later I'll clean them all up, and then I'll start cooking the minestrone later this afternoon. So it's ciao for now. See you this afternoon. And as it is such a beautiful day, I decided to move my portable hob outside and to cook outside, and continue on the same theme as earlier. So I just poured a little olive oil inside a pan, and I'm going to make the Soffritto base first, which will comprises of onions, also one large clove of garlic, and a large stick of celery. I'm using a couple of small to medium sized onions, but one large onion will also be enough. Also, I'm making a larger batch than normal because I love this so much that I'll have some much more of lunch. And I'll go ahead and slice them into medium to small pieces. Also with the onion, I've removed the peel today, and I'll give it a gentle crush. That's good. With the celery stick, by the way, do ensure that you go at the bottom and just break it up like this. And can you see all of those strings? Just remove them, because otherwise they will get in your teeth, and that cannot be pleasant at any time. Go both ways, by the way. See, look, all of these can go in the compost bin, and there it is. And this one here, I'll chop it in half lengthways first, and then I'll do in relatively small pieces, as I do not want to be too intrusive. The only disadvantage of cooking outside is that we don't live too far from an airport, about 10 miles, and they've got also a helicopter base, and occasionally there is the odd helicopter going by, but I will always pause when that is the case. Of course, there is the benefit of nature talking to you, and the birds chirping, and it's absolutely beautiful. So this is now beginning to sizzle, and the temperature I've turned it down to medium, and I'll leave it to gently fry until the onion and the celery soften up, and the garlic is here somewhere, and make sure that you don't burn it, otherwise it will give you a very bitter taste. In the second episode of this series, I cooked gnudi, which is a specialty from Tuscany, and again I used chard and spinach, and I fried them, and then I added some wine, and they generated some stock because they released a lot of water, and here is the stock which I reserved. I made a point during that episode that I would have cooked a risotto with it, and if you can see, it's actually quite concentrated, and this is when I'm going to be using it. So I'll add that into a saucepan first. Then, using the same glass, I'm going to be filling it up with water, and I'll add more water, and then I'll top up my saucepan with a little bit more water, and I think I'll stop over here. If you do not have any vegetable stock, you can either use straightforward water, or you can make some stock using a stock cube, a vegetable stock cube. But if you want to make your own stock, just chop an onion, and then chop also some celery and carrots, or any vegetables you might have in your fridge, and also add a bay leaf if you've got one, and let it cook for about 20 minutes with some water, and then leave it, and that is vegetable stock, which you can use for this recipe. This is about a litre in stock altogether. And I'll turn it on, and I'll make sure that it reaches temperature, so that that will be ready for me to add to the rice in a minute. My vegetable stock has reached the boil, and if you take a look, it's gently bubbling away. It's on minimum, as I will be topping up the rice, and I want it to be warm, not cold. In the meantime, also the onions have actually softened up beautifully, and the first job I'll do is to add the rice. This is arborio rice. You can add any type of rice you like, risotto rice, arborio rice, or if you like, you can also use brown rice. Entirely up to you. Brown rice will require a little bit longer to cook, of course. So the rice is in, and I'll gently mix it in on its own first, and I'll let the rice absorb any of the moisture left from the oil, and also from any liquid released by the vegetables in the onions and the celery. Just a couple of minutes first. And that is perfect. So here is my broth, and I'll start by adding a couple of ladles, like so, 1 and 2. And I'll gently mix it. Temperature in my rice, by the way, is medium, and this will require about 20 minutes altogether to cook. So gentle, nice and slow will do the trick. And as the rice will absorb the liquid, I will be topping it up. But in the meantime, I'll start adding the other vegetables. And to ensure that everything cooks broadly at the same time, I will start with the harder vegetable first. So these are the little 2 zucchinis that I picked earlier, so I'll just chop them in little round circles, mostly because they're very small. But if you had a big zucchini, you might want to chop it in half and then do it in little pieces. The objective is to achieve broadly similar sizes vegetables. Here, my beautiful little round courgette, I'll remove the head, and also, as this is a little bit dark, I will remove part of the bun so they can go in my compost over there. And I'll chop it in half, and then I'll do little slices like this, and I'll make some cubes, as I said, vaguely similar size to the other zucchini. it is actually lovely to think that I have got the luxury of being able to cook with such fresh vegetables. So here is my zucchini finished, and as they are also a little bit harder compared to the spinach and the chard, these are the beans. So I'll just remove the little head from the top, but I will not bother with anything else because everything is so soft and so fresh. And these here, I will leave them whole, as I think they look absolutely stunning in my risotto later. Some of the stock in the meantime has been absorbed, so I will top it up first, and I will also give it a gentle mix, and then I can add my chopped zucchini and my chopped beans. There, they can go in. And I'll mix everything together so that the zucchini and the beans will start releasing their flavor into the lovely risotto. In the meantime, I'll get the other vegetables ready, and I'll start with the peas over here, and I'll just remove them from the pod, of course, and I'll just try one actually, or a couple. You know what, if you've got the opportunity to grow your own vegetables, especially peas, do it. They're definitely tastier, far more tastier than anything you can buy in the supermarket. They are so delicious. Ironically, we find ourselves, Julie and I, often down there, we are doing some work, and we are eating peas off the pod or the broad beans. So by the time we actually get to cook them, there isn't a lot left, but that's part of the fun. These are absolutely delicious. And time to deal with the chard and the spinach, and I didn't go mad as you saw me picking it, but although they look like there is a lot here, by the time actually it's cooked it will shrink considerably. So I'm actually at the moment assessing if I should remove the stems or not, but actually they are quite delicate and tender, so I'm not going to bother. Oh, hello, what are you doing here? There you go, off you go. So I will actually just chop them in fine little parts, everything as it is, and including the stems, and then I will save a little time, but also as they're chopped in little pieces, I think they will release flavor faster. So I just go along with my knife and cut them up. And they're done. The last thing I've got to deal with is the two little flowers, which I've also washed, and they do actually add flavor, believe it or not. But today I'm going to be cutting this in half like this, and the big one I will remove this part, as I don't think it's any good, and I'll cut it this way, and I'll mix it here, and I'll now wait about 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'll continue topping up my rice with some of the liquid, and then I will wait until I'm about 7 minutes off, and then I can add the rest of the vegetables, as this will not take a lot to cook. I nearly forgot my rind of Parmesan cheese, mostly because it was actually under the cooker. I'll show it to you here, look. Whenever I have Parmigiano or Parmesan cheese and I reach the end, I leave a little bit, see there is still a little cheese here, and then I'll clean it and I'll leave it in the freezer. And whenever I cook something like this, I put it in. So this can go in now, and it will release lots of flavors, and if you've never tried before, try and see what you think. It's absolutely delicious. It just releases a unique flavor. And also you could use the rind from pecorino or any hard Italian cheese that you like, but make sure that you clean it before obviously you cook with it. So from the very beginning, the rice has now been cooking for a good 12 minutes. I just have a little taste, and it is fairly al dente, so actually I think another 8 minutes, 8-10 minutes, and it will be ready. So it's a good time for me to firstly add some salt, and I'm going to be putting 1 teaspoon, and that is 2 of these things here, about 5 grams. Be careful with salt. You can always add it later, but you cannot take it away. Also, if you're using stock cube to make your broth, they're quite salty, so you might want to taste it before you add any salt. I just tasted it, of course. And I'm ready to add the rest of my chard and my spinach. They go in, and I will do now a little trick to ensure that everything cooks properly. Firstly, I'll add another ladle of my beautiful broth. Then I'll put the lid on now, and this will ensure that the rice will cook properly, and I'll turn the temperature up first, and then I'll turn it down again once everything starts bubbling away. And the spinach and the chard will reduce in volume considerably, and then I will turn it down again. So I'll show you before it's finished what it looks like, and in the last 3 or 4 minutes is when I'm going to add the peas. And I'm nearly there. If you take a look, the vegetables have gone down dramatically, they've really shrunk, and the rice looks nearly cooked. Actually, yeah, it feels nearly cooked. So I will add the peas next. Not a lot, but a little flavor, and I'll mix everything together, and I will combine all of my spinach and chard together with the rice now. Oh look, here's the Parmesan doing his little job. But can you see that a lot of the stock has been absorbed? So I'm going to top it up now. Put another couple of ladles, and that should be enough until the end now. And I'll mix it all together again. If you look at the bottom, by the way, can you see that as I touched a little? That is not a problem. If that happens to you, that's okay. Actually, it's not burnt, it's just a little crust, and I love it. What I tend to do, I go with a spoon and I'll just remove it, and I'll let that to be absorbed with the rest of the liquid, and it adds a little bit of that charcoaly flavor to it. So do not panic, it isn't burnt, it's just that it's caught a little, and that's okay. So let's mix it and wait until it's done now. And my risotto is almost ready. All I need is just a few finishing touches. And if you were to speak to my mother, she would tell you that the finishing touches are the most important part of any meal, especially when it comes down to olive oil. So I've just turned it off, and I have to say the smell is really fresh. So I will add some olive oil. This is absolutely sacrosanct in my mum's house. Always add olive oil, and she would most probably add it to milk if she could. And I'll mix it in. Then here I've got some fresh parsley, which also I've picked from the garden, and I'll just chop it in like this. And then some Parmigiano Reggiano. I know I put the grind in earlier, but this is obviously the normal cheese, and I'll just grate some in, and then entirely up to you if you want to put it in or not. And if you're vegan, just skip it. It's not the end of the world. But or you can buy some vegan cheese. But if you're not, and I strongly really recommend that you add some cheese now and some cheese later, just before you eat it. So I'll do the now part. And as I made quite a large batch, I'm being quite generous with my cheese. That is enough. So I will mix everything in now, the cheese and the oil and the parsley. And this is really important. I've said it before, just put the lid on and leave it for 2 more minutes. The heat is off, and then during this time everything will combine. But more important, the oil and the parsley will release lots of flavor, and they are fresh, of course, and the whole thing will combine together. So I'll see you in 2 minutes, and then I'll taste it. I think that minestrone risotto is something that you can eat any time of the year, for the simple reason that it's made with rice, and it doesn't matter if it's winter, summer, spring or the autumn. But in our case, as it is summer, the benefit is that being that it is rice, what I'll do is I will leave it to cool down for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then it doesn't have to be piping hot like when you eat pasta, for example. And it will be beautiful because it's not going to be too hot, but also you can eat it comfortably and actually quite refreshing. So I've done a portion, and here it is. And the next thing I do, as I mentioned before, I will replicate a little olive oil, not a lot, but that is again my mum's influence on me, and a little Parmesan cheese on top. And as I said before, I reserved a little bit more of my parsley, and I'll just sprinkle that on top, mostly for garnishing purposes. And that is it, it's ready. So all I've got to do now is to test it and let you know what it's like. Let's have a look. It's hot, so I'm gonna have to blow it. Oh God, it's so lovely. Okay, zucchini. The freshness of the ingredients is amazing, and the flavor is absolutely beautiful. If you get the opportunity to make it either with fresh ingredients or with the ingredients you buy from the supermarket, make it. It's really healthy and absolutely beautiful. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. The next one will be a little surprise for you, but you'll have to wait for that. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. See you later. Bye.